Assalamu alaikum. I'm trying to do live or shorts, and I don't know what I'm doing, so I'm going back to my original camera, and I'm just going to do what I feel is necessary right now until I can find someone to help me. This has worked so far for 14 years, so why be greedy and try to be like other people who do shorts and lives and reels? All I can say is yesterday I had quite a day at a particular masjid here where I met a new convert, and she was lovely. She's, in her maybe 60 and married to Egyptian and convert for like 40 years and knows a lot in English. And I was with another friend, and of course, as usual, the subject comes up, as it always does, with revert converts, however you want to label them, this constant obsession with magic and jinn. Now, I recall when I first went to Egypt, and I had been a revert for 2 years, and I was invited to go to a British Wives of Egyptians coffee morning. Long story. My husband said, you shouldn't go. It's going to be ridiculous. All they do is complain. You won't like them. They're going to be very, not your type. So I said, no, I want to go. I want to see foreigners. I want to speak English. Traditions, habits. So reluctantly, he drove me there. And when I got there, this is all coming back to me now because of what happened yesterday. These women were either not Muslim and they just married Egyptians as Christians, which of course is a mistake, but they're told that it's okay. It's not okay. If you know it's in the Quran, it's such a big mistake. But anyway, and then there were Muslim revert types like me, and they had lived there for years. And so they had this, plan that they would scoop up whatever convert reverts were in Cairo, and they would just have a group of women gathering for coffee mornings. And one of the first subjects they brought up, and this I'll never forget it, they said, well, you're new here now, and we just want to give you some warnings. Did you know that these Muslims talk about jinn more than they talk about Allah? Well, I was completely floored. I said, no way. Because I had been a revert for 2 years, but I studied a lot in English reading Quran. They said, no, you're going to see, and you have to know what they do in the Hajj. The Maqama Ibrahim, they don't even go there. And they're starting to give me criticisms about what happens at the Hajj, which I was so far away from thinking about going on the Hajj at that time. Well, yesterday, it was as though all these memories flooded back at me when this woman started to blame magic, she called it black magic, on something that happened to her in her early days of being a convert revert. And so I'm just going to try to sum it up. I tried to make a short or a live, but it's beyond my ability to even start to figure it out. What do you mean? What do you mean I need to download a YouTube channel? What? No, I'm going to go back to my initial, this is my way. My way is open up the camera, do what I do, pass it on to YouTube, and it's all good. So because of that, I'm going to make it a little bit longer, not the short that I had intended it to be, because I think shorts attract a lot of people. And they get more traction. And I don't take money. So when you're not making money for whoever they are, the algorithms aren't going to really bother with you. Sometimes I'll get a couple of hundred comments and views. But, I do this for the sake of Allah, and He will cause it to land where it should land, in the hearts of those who deserve to get my words. Anyway. Here we go, this difficult subject, which isn't difficult. All you have to do is know how to read Arabic and research. That most people don't fall into those categories. They'd rather believe in magic than believe in what Allah has told them. So let's start at the beginning. Miqayis ibn Faris, the oldest extant dictionary, older than Lisan al-Arab or Mu'ajam anything, is Miqayis ibn Faris. If you look up the word sihr, he is going to tell you that it means something portrayed as true when it's false, and something portrayed as false when it's true. A type of an illusion which has no basis in anything real or useful. So that is baseline what the word sihr means. So when I first learned that, of course, I spent probably a couple of years looking up things, and it was all true. And when you can read Arabic and you look up where the word sihr comes in the Quran, or the derivatives, it's called ishtiqaq, things like sahir, sahirun, sahirin, mashur, it all falls into the category of an illusion, a trick. Now, it's horrendous when I'm telling you all of this, because, shall I say 90%, maybe more, of Middle Eastern Muslims, specifically Middle Eastern, no, it's all of them, the Arabs, the Indonesian, they're all obsessed with believing in magic. So that just goes to show you what Allah tells you. Most people don't believe. Most people hate the truth. Most people are ungrateful. This is in Quran. I keep telling you about these verses that are, nobody seems to care that Allah is telling them the truth, giving them the tools to figure it out. But you know what? They are most people, and they're going to fall into the traps. Not only that, but the dishonest hypocrites from the imams. Oh yeah, from the imams. They keep misleading and guiding people to the wrong path because they are most people. They're humans. Did Allah ever tell you in Quran in a verse when He says, "Akthara nasi la yu'minun," most people don't believe? Did He ever say to you, except the scholars? Did He ever say to you, except the imams, in Arabic, a'imah? Did He ever tell you that? So before I give you, and I want to make this lesson short because I want you to forward it to everyone. It's so important. When I first became a Muslim, I might have mentioned this before, my teacher, Sheikh Ismail, the black man from Ghana, who was at that time like 24 years old, and I was like almost 40, the best man I've ever met, the closest to a real human angel that I've ever met. He was the wali in my marriage, and he was also the best teacher until he was arrested, imprisoned, and sent into exile out of Egypt. This is Shaban. This is the month before Ramadan. We are supposed to be making huge efforts so that our Ramadan will even be bigger and better, and et cetera, et cetera. And right about now in America, I am not, let's say, am I in a comfort zone? No, of course not. No. But I do my best to remain sane and calm and hopefully useful for you. But here's what the Sheikh said to me before I became a Muslim, because I sat with him a couple of times in a medical clinic by power of Allah, who put me with a couple of doctors who I guess were okay with the security forces. And I sat with this person that I never met before, and it was Sheikh Ismail. And I sat with him twice, and each time it took probably between 3 and 4 hours asking him questions. And his main focus was, because I was on my way back to America, I was a tourist. His main focus was, he asked me what I knew about Islam, and then he said, well, now you're going to have to learn Arabic. And I laughed and I said, learn Arabic. No, I'm not going to learn Arabic. I already know 5 languages. I don't need to learn Arabic. I know my prayers from Juz Amma and I can pray. That's well enough. I have the 2 quls, Surah Al-Falaq, Surah Nas. I have Surah Al-Ikhlas, Qul Huwa Allahu Ahad. I have Al-Fatiha. I thought I was pretty good. He said, oh, no. You have to learn Arabic. You're educated and you have the capacity. I don't know where he ever got that, but I said, no. I said, I'm exhausted. I just finished this PhD. I'm almost 41 years old. I'm tired. And I don't want to study anything ever again in my life, nor do I want to take courses, nor do I want to run courses for people and give them marks and grades. And oh, no. I want to rest. And he pushed me. And he said, no, you have to learn Arabic. And he repeated it. And I kept saying no. And he repeated it. It was almost like Iqra. That's how it reminds me of that man. I sometimes feel he was an angel in human form, which can happen. So I was belligerent. And I said, look, I'm not going to do it, so stop trying to convince me of doing something that I know I don't want to do and I will never do. And by the way, why are you being so pushy with me? Why do I have to learn Arabic? And you know what that man said? So no one can lie to you. And I said, well, who's going to lie to me? And he was silent. And I said, listen, I'll just look up shuyukh, and I know how to use YouTube, and I'm going to find shuyukh and ask them. And here's what he did. I hope I can give justice to this little dramatic whatever I'm doing. He went, shrug of the shoulders with a smirk when I mentioned the word shuyukh. Later on, I learned that they're called the ulama as-sulta, the chosen scholars who are allowed by the authorities to speak. But they're chosen by the authorities. Therefore, they're limited. That's what we have in America, by the way, right now. Do you know what we have in America right now? You know why the masajids aren't doing anything? Or speaking the truth? They've got this tax exemption where they have to sign on to this, I forget, it's got numbers in it. I'll figure it out later and tell you. And by signing on to that, they are controlled. It's not like in Egypt where they're controlled by the government. No, because we pretend we have freedom of religion here, right? Well, we did, but whatever. I have an American Muslim friend who's very admin-y, and she knows about all this stuff. And she said, oh, yes. If they want to be tax exempt as a faith-based institution, they must agree to a form of censorship. And when they sign on that, whatever it's called, they can be tax exempt. So why am I telling you this on the subject of sihr? Because sihr is representing something good and true, when it's really the opposite. It's something bad and false. So now that I went off on a little bit of a tangent, that track that I just went off on, I'm going to give you some proofs from the Quran. This is what I do. I mean, I let other people do the engineering techniques and let other people do the rules and the laws of admin people. Boring. How about this? How about words of Allah? Now, I want to do it in English because I want this to circulate everywhere with people who don't ever even dream to be Muslim or know Arabic, but this is really good. And this is from Quran. The one I love so much is from Surah Tur, and those of you who care, it's verse 15. When Allah says, I have to do one verse in Arabic, just one. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أفسحر هذا أم أنتم لا تبصرون. Allah asks, is this sihr? Or are you not insightful? Tubasirun means, don't you have any depth in what you're seeing? It's a question from Allah in Surah Tur about the word sihr. Now, here will be another one, and this is Surah Saba. Actually, I have 3. So I want to make this brief so you can forward. It's not even brief. I'll just translate it, okay? Because then I can make it under what they're telling me, 20 minutes it should be. They said, Subhanaka, oh Allah, glory be to thee. You are our protector in this world, not them. But, كانوا يعبدون الجن. Most of them worship the jinn. And it says, أكثرهم بهم مؤمنون. Most of them believe in them. وقال الذين كفروا للحق. And the disbelievers said to the truth when it came to them, إن هذا إلا السحر المبين. They said, this is clear magic. When the truth came to them, إلا السحر المبين. And then the last one. No, I have 2 more. قل إن ربي يقذف الحق على قل إن ربي يقذف بالحق أعلام الغيوب. Say Allah throws the truth at the world which is invisible, the strange world. Allah will throw truth upon it. And then the last verse, قل جاء الحق وما يبدي والباطل وما يعيد. The truth has come